So I can't believe I'm gonna say this, but I have to. M3GAN is the best movie I've seen this entire year. Because I've only seen one movie this entire year. Chucky would not be proud. What's up, guys? I'm Sully Streams. I post videos every week about which movies are actually worth your time and which ones are just hot garbage. So make sure you hit that subscribe button so you know when to spend that hard-earned cash at the theater. And today we're talking about the brand new horror movie, M3GAN. All you need to know about this one is that it follows a robotics engineer who works for a toy company and builds a lifelike doll for her niece so she has a friend. And this doll's equipped with some super advanced artificial intelligence, but little by little it begins to take on a life of its own. Well, the January movie curse is alive and well, and it sounds like I'm in the minority here, but this one was just a total letdown for me. And before you ask me, well, what did you think this one was going to be in the first place? I think I had my expectations set correctly at the door. I went into this one hoping for something fun that wasn't going to take itself too seriously, would offer up a new horror villain for the TikTok generation. I mean, I wanted to see an American Girl doll just go wild in here. And we do get some of that, but with all the stuff in here, you can clearly tell they cut out of the movie to be accessible to a younger audience. I mean, this thing just ended up being a big tease more than anything else. There's definitely the start of some good stuff in here. I mean, it's very funny and creative in a couple places, but the movie never truly gets to dig into that and double down on any of those aspects. I just think if you let M3GAN do her thing and go for broke, it would have a lot more staying power. But in its current state, I feel like even the people that liked it aren't really going to remember it in a couple months. Now, this will be the least surprising thing you hear about this movie, but this film is at its best when M3GAN is talking like a 10-year-old that's obsessed with TikTok and is also slicing somebody up at the same time. And they've actually given her some pretty cool features to work with. She can emulate other people's voices. She can take control of electronic devices. I mean, she can even run like a goddamn cheetah. We saw that in the trailer. But because the fun of this movie relies so heavily on M3GAN's character, the first act here suffers so much without her. Like, some of the early parts in there are rough, and the setup just takes too long for us to even meet M3GAN, that by the time she gets established, set up, and good to go, there's just not even enough time left in the movie for her to run wild like I wanted her to. And she's really the only character you need to even pay attention to in this movie. Like, Allison Williams and Violet McGraw, they do fine as the lead characters here, but I just didn't find an emotional connection there, and everyone else involved here is the most cookie-cutter, stereotypical character you have ever seen. Like, if she's handled better in the future, M3GAN has actual horror movie icon potential. There's no question about that. And you look at the characters that surround Allison Williams in this movie, I mean, you have the crazy boss, the minion that'll do whatever he asks, the angry next-door neighbor. I mean, we've seen these characters in countless other horror movies. It basically spoils what's going to happen in the rest of the film for us. We know what's going to go down. Cookie cutter is the term I just keep coming back to when it comes to the characters, the plot, the cinematography, you name it, honestly. Not to mention, this movie basically just rips off the 2019 Child's Play remake. Not a great movie. I actually think I enjoy it more than most, but it modernized Chucky into making him this kind of like Bluetooth-operated doll that goes haywire and has a mind of his own at the end, obviously. But I think a lot of people are going to look back at this now and say, you know what, that last Child's Play movie wasn't that bad. And a big part of that is because of its R rating. That's one of the most frustrating parts about this movie. You can tell it was supposed to be rated R. Like, the filmmakers made this movie with an R rating in mind, there's no doubt about it. And I bet Blumhouse saw how much M3GAN was blowing up all over social media and TikTok, and they picked up the phone and were like, all right, take all the good shit out. We're getting as many butts and seats as possible for this one. You know they want to sell those Halloween costumes. All the action and gory bits cut away right before the money shot that everyone's waiting for. There's just nothing for us to linger on. There's empty frames. PG-13 horror movies do not need to be like that. Sam Raimi's Drag Me to Hell is an example I always use of a really good PG-13 horror movie. If you craft it with that rating in mind from the start, you're able to come up with some pretty cool and creative ways to imply all of the violence and the gore, rather than make your audience sit there and imagine it themselves because you deleted it all out of the final cut like a bozo. I saw some of the creative team behind this movie in an interview talking about how M3GAN is way tougher than Chucky and would totally kick his ass, and I'm like, yeah, no shit, she's made out of titanium, you're right, and that takes literally all of the fun out of it. Chucky being a plastic and rubber doll you could pick up and fling across the room is what makes him interesting. He has to get creative to do what he does. That's what makes him fun to watch. He has to sneak around to get the advantage over you, because even he knows if he comes at you head on, he'll lose. If he was this little unkillable titanium Terminator, there'd be no movie. You'd be dead the second you're in the same room as him, which would take away his sense of humor and personality, which is what makes him a slasher icon in the first place. If you want to get my butt back in a seat, Stop fooling around, give us an R rating, and make a M3GAN vs. Chucky movie. M3GAN was a total mixed bag for me. There's no denying that she could one day become a true horror icon, but not if she continues to be handled the way she was in this movie. And whenever she's not on screen, God, does this movie suffer. There's still fun to be had, there's crowd-pleasing scenes sprinkled in here, and the themes of the movie are definitely interesting, but they all just come way too late in the game, and you're going to be left wondering why they couldn't just do us a solid and give us an R-rated version. Wait on this one until they inevitably try to sell us the unrated cut. You know that's going to happen. M3GAN gets a Sully score of 2.5 stars. So that's my review of the latest Gen Z killer doll movie. You won't see me allowing any American Girl dolls in my house, I'll tell you that. Let me know in the comments below if you're going to go check this one out or if you've already seen it. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, and I'll see you guys at the next video.